weather brought to you by jwolf.com. Value driven.
Sonya Artis is here. The book is called Vanessa's Choice, and it really is about some very tough choices, and everybody faces them, but in this particular case, let me just read you on the back of the book. It is about Vanessa, too busy living past life to think about her pregnancy. Before she knows it, it's too late to make the decision to abort or not abort. That's what your doctor had recommended.
Correct.
And now you're faced with having to make decisions that she's not mentally ready nor mature enough to make, according to the back of the book. And you mentions here, barely taking care of your 2-year-old daughter at the time. And here you find yourself with another baby on the way. And this is, to tell this story, especially since you're kind of a, as you say, kind of a reserved person and don't like to necessarily spill the beans about everything. Were there ever moments as you're writing it that you're thinking, nope, I'm done. I'm not going to do this. I can't do this?
There were moments when I was writing, I could not get past the depression that had set in. Depression set in with the book. And the way to get past that was to keep writing. I actually had no intentions of releasing the book. It was just my therapy. That's always been my therapy. So once I had completed the book, I don't know how I let somebody talk me into releasing the book, but that's why I sat on the book for 2 years. I was really afraid. I sit on one of the boards at my church. I was afraid, wow, I go to a fairly big church. What are they going to think when they see
because they didn't know
my
this
life?
past, did
No,
they?
no. All they know is I'm to myself. I'm quiet, and I do my job, and I'm in the choir, and I go home. That's it. And so I was really worried about that. But once again, when you have a purpose and you're pushed to do something, you have to listen. You have to step forward. And I'm really praying that the book does help other people, and my speaking engagements help other people. I could never tell anybody which decision to make, but if I can help one person not make a decision, but think even before they react or act, think before they make the decision to do certain things at a young age, or help somebody else who's in the position, I will have done my job.
Do you think, thinking back to when you were 23 years old and younger, do you think you would have listened to somebody if they had sat you down and said, okay, Vanessa, you're making all these bad decisions, here's what you need to, would you have listened to yourself?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I would have listened, and I've always been the type, when I do bad things, I feel bad about it. I just don't want anybody that would know it was a bad thing to judge me on it. So I would protect myself from, okay, I don't want this person to know I did this, and I don't want this person. But the people who were more like me, it was more of a bragging right. Yeah, you know what I did yesterday. But yes, I would have, because shame, I never want to shame my family or shame myself. And a lot of the things I did back then were shameful. They were things that I was embarrassed of. So as long as you have a conscience and you can be led right when you're doing wrong, I think you'll take the time. Some people just need that attention and love.
Right. And
I needed that.
I think it's very true, too, what you mentioned earlier, that the people that you surround yourself with, if they are kind of reinforcing this bad behavior, that gives you a comfort zone. Well, everybody does it. All my friends do this or that. But if you push yourself out of that comfort zone, you can find a whole new level of challenge, but also some peace, too.
Correct. And that's exactly what I did. And you have to know when you make that transition, you're going to lose some people. And it's okay. It really is. It's okay.
Who should read this book? I mean, what ages? Because some of the language is pretty rough.
Yes.
And some of the images are pretty rough of this, young woman faced with, physical problems because of the pregnancy and all kind. I mean, there's some pretty rough stuff in here. So who should read it, and what kind of guidance should somebody have as they read it?
I have not recommended that book to anybody under the age of 14. I actually say 15 and older, but it's up to the parents, because I was a youth friend, and I had 3 youth friends, and they were 12 and 13, and all had babies. I would have recommended this book to all of them, but I have a 12-year-old at home, and I have a 20-year-old. I will not let my 12-year-old read this book. My 20-year-old, I let her read it when it came out. She was 17 at the time.
What'd she think? Mom!
No, actually, she's very proud. Okay. And I even thought my family would be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe she released that. But they were very proud, and my church even backed me. So I've been very blessed in that area.
Well,
Very
you sum it up
blessed.
very well in the back here about decisions that you make that change you from a partying, carefree, combative
Yes.
person, girl, really, to a responsible, mature woman. And it takes courage to write a book like this. It takes a lot of courage to talk about it. And we appreciate your time. Vanessa's Choice is the name of the book. Sonya Artis is the author. And you can find it just about anywhere and everywhere and learn an awful lot about challenges and choices and just a very touching story. Thanks for telling it. Thanks for sharing it with
And
us.
thank you for inviting me. I love this.
It's called Vanessa's Choice.
Thank you, Joe.